Good morning, class. Come on in. Welcome, welcome to class. Today's a great morning, and glad to have you all here. We're going to be talking today. In fact, today's objective is for all of us to learn how to be able to add and subtract positive and negative integers. Now, you may have remembered that the other day we had a contest where I told you all to, if anybody could tell me how to add why a positive multiplied, or a negative multiplied by a negative equal a positive, you'd win the grand prize. And we had some big prize winners. Matter of fact, some of you even got a gigantic burrito. But if you, just to kind of recall for a quick second, if you look right here on the table here, I got all these white. Matter of fact, you can help me here. David, why don't you take a look at there and you see how many white right here you have.
We have 3 positive signs, four positive signs.
Yeah, so here we go, we got 5 positives, right? So now we're gonna put some negatives in here. So all of those, as you remember, we all said that they always equal 0.
Yes.
That this is kind of like the universe of 0. And in a minute we're gonna watch a video that'll give us a chance to understand that a little bit better. But just real quickly, if you guys don't remember when we did our multiplication, and I was trying to explain to you why a negative times a negative is a positive. So let's just say that we were going to multiply negative 3 times negative 3. So if we're multiplying the negatives, then we're going to remove, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're gonna need a little bit more of the universe here, because we know that a 3 times a 3 is a 9. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's go for 10. That's a big universe of nothing. Wouldn't you say, David?
Yes, Mr. Krause.
So here we got this whole universe. And let's say we're going to multiply 2 times 3. So really, we don't need all of these. We'll just move them over here. So we got this universe right here. So if we take 3 negatives away, or 2 times 3, what do we got left, Dave?
On this universe, we're going to have a positive. It's going to equal to something, whereas this one will be equal to 0.
Well, 2 times 3 is 6, right?
Yes, Mr. Krause.
So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tiles.
Yes.
So now let's take a look today on something a little different now. We're going to be adding and subtracting integers. So let's take a look at how that works. Now I'm going to build our universe again of 0, but just before I do that, let's take a minute and let's watch a video real quickly about adding and subtracting integers here. And while I do this, Dave, you go ahead and take some notes.
Yes, Mr. Krause.
About not being confident when negative numbers pop up. So you want to give these in partners and try an inquiry approach. That's really the best way. The hands-on method helps them really grasp the concept and then actually remember it. So I like to start out this way and not even give the rules and just have them develop.
I want to take some notes with you here.
So the first thing you want to do is introduce the concept of a 0 pair. So anytime that they have 1 plus and 1 minus, that's represented by the 1 and negative 1, it adds up to 0. And adding or subtracting 0 doesn't affect anything. We can always add 0 and take away 0 without affecting the problem at all. So do that on the overhead projector or the Elmo or everyone together so they can all see it. And then try a few sample problems together too. So with the whole class, get started together so they can see what zero pairs actually work. You're going to want to do a couple like this before you send them off on their own so they can see how they're going to use the zero pairs. So with -7, they would need 7 minus signs, and then they're adding a +2, so now they have some of each sign. So remembering how zero pairs work, have them move things around. If they take one positive and one negative and put them together, we know that's 0. We can take it out of the picture because adding or subtracting 0 doesn't influence the answer. We can do that again. And they're going to do that until they have only one sign left, because that's when we know we're at that easy point, just like these ones, where we can just add them all up and figure out our answer. So now that we've subtracted and taken away 0, we can see easily 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they're negative, so there's our answer. Once you try a couple like these, then send kids off on their own. I like to have them do it in pairs and explore this, and maybe even just chart the answers. I like to have them chart what happens when both are negative, both are positive, one of each, and make sure you include one of each where the number with greater absolute value is negative and the number with greater absolute value is positive, because that's how they're going to end up developing those rules. Guided questions can really lead them to notice these patterns and start thinking in terms of phrasing their rules with the word absolute value. They'll observe that the number with the greater absolute value is going to be more powerful and influence the sign of the answer. But they can come up with that rule for themselves, and then they'll actually understand the concept and remember it. With any discovery activity, make sure you come together at the end, discuss the rules and observations that everyone had, make sure everyone's got the idea, and be sure to clear up any misconceptions before you move on to subtracting, probably even on another day. Okay, when we're subtracting, we're going to use the zero pairs a little differently. So make sure you understand these examples before you try this with your class. So try this one first. -3 minus -1. We're going to go back to their first understanding of negatives when they learned this in first grade was take it away, removing something. So if we start with -3, and then we take away a -1, take away one of those negatives, what do we have left? A simple example like this helps them get the idea and get started. Then you want to try one that they have to use zero pairs. So something like 2 minus 4. So they're going to start with 2 positives. Now, knowing that this means take away, we would want to take away 4 positives. Well, we don't have 4 positives here to take away. But remember, we can always add or subtract 0 without affecting the answer of the problem. So in this case, we're going to add 0 pairs. When they were learning how to add this way, we would take away 0 pairs, but now for subtracting, sometimes we need to add 0 to help us understand and see and visualize this in a hands-on way. So if we want to take away 4, we're going to need 4 positives. Well, we can add the 2 positives that we need as long as we add them in a form of 0, which means we have to add a 0 pair each time. This I can go ahead and add in without affecting the answer. And this I can go ahead and add in. I added 0 twice. Now I do have 4 that I can take away. So I take away the 4 positives to do my subtraction, and now I can see what I ended up with and what I have left. A -2. Let's try another one that works a little bit differently. -6 minus 1. So now we're starting with a negative. Kids will put -6 in for their counters, and then they want to take away a +1. Well, I don't have any positives here. I can't take away 1 plus sign because I don't even see 1. Well, I can add a plus sign, but remember, I can't just add that because that's changing the problem. I have to add 0. So I can put a 0 pair in here, and now I do have 1 positive that I can take away. Look what we're left with, 7 negatives. -7 is the answer. So once you expose kids to this idea, they can play around with the 0 pairs. And for some kids, this is what
What do
really
you
makes
think,
it
Dave?
click. You know, remember and understand.
Does that
how
give
they-
you good understanding of negatives and positives?
Yes, Mr. Klaus.
Let's,
I really understand it now.
let's see some of the things that you wrote down in your notes.
Yes, Mr. Klaus.
What things did you list on your notes there?
I listed all the examples that the video had shown. I also wrote down how a positive and a negative cancel each other out, so their sum will equal 0, and that the other integer No, the other will influence the sign of the answer. Also, the differences between subtracting and adding using
So what do you think is the zero, the universe of zero?
a negative and a positive canceling each other out.
All right, so in other words, if we got a positive right here and we got a negative, what does that do?
Their sum is nothing.
It's nothing.
Yes.
It's canceled itself out because now it becomes zero.
Yes.
All right. Now, why when you add positives, do you think you take away the negatives?
Because what you're adding to something, you're also taking away something.
All right, so in other words, when you're adding something, let's take an example. Let's write, for instance, say I was to give you the formula here. We're gonna take this and we're gonna say, okay, now you're gonna be adding a 2 plus 2. So you got 2 positives, and you're gonna add it to another 2 positives. So what's that gonna equal?
-2 plus +2.
Yeah, you
Mr.
got
Cross?
2, no, I'm sorry. You got 2 positive 2s, right?
Yes, Mr.
2
Cross.
plus 2s. So if we were to look at our universe, now this is the universe of nothing, because if you got all of these, you could have 1,000 of these, and it still equals 0.
Yes, Mr.
With
Cross.
0 is nothing, right?
Yes.
So let's take 4, because you're adding 2, so we'll take 2 positives. Here's 1, here's 2, and then we'll take another 2 positives. 1, 2. How many positives we got?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4 positives.
All right, so we have 4 positives. All right, that's great. Now let's take another one. Let's say that we're taking a 3 plus 1, a positive 3 and a negative 3. So let's put our universe back together again. So we're saying that we're taking 3 positives, right?
Yes, Mr.
So let's take 3 positive. 1, 2, 3. And now we're gonna take 1, what?
A -1.
No, that's a positive 1.
Oh.
I had to make that too clear, but that's a plus 1, right?
Yes, Mr. Cross.
A plus 1. So what do?
We're gonna count all the integers.
So we add 1 more, and how many we got?
4.
We got 4. Okay, now let's trick it up a bit. Let's make it a little more difficult. Let's say that you're gonna subtract. You take those same numbers there, only this time, you're gonna have a positive 3 and a minus 1.
Yes, Mr. Cross.
All right?
Yes.
So let's take 3 first. So now we got 3 pluses. But the problem is we don't really have any minus. So we can't just put a minus up there. But what do got? We can put a 0. Right? Now we got a minus. So let's say right here, all right, we're gonna subtract what?
3 subtracting 1.
We're gonna take a plus 3 and subtract a minus 1 from it,
So
right?
this 0 is gonna cancel each other out, and then we're left with 1, 2, 3.
3. That's exactly it.
But 3 minus 1 would be 2, Mr. Cross.
Oh yeah. Forgot we had to take 1 more out. So that leaves us 2. A plus 2.
Yes.
I love it. Okay, now, what I'd like to do is I'd like you to try it a little bit.
Yes, Mr. Cross.
All right? Let's see if you could. Now, I'm gonna, so let's take, we got, why don't you take these plus right here, and create a universe of nothing.
Yes, Mr. Carlson.
Take all those right there.
How many positives can I use?
Whatever you got there, that'll work. That looks like that's a whole bunch.
And then,
So whenever we got the universe of nothing, we got a positive and a negative.
yes, Mr. Carlson.
How many you got there?
I have 4.
4. Why don't you make a few more than that, just in case we try a bigger problem there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6. All right. So I got 6. 1, 2,
Yes,
3,
yes.
4, 5, 6. Okay, I want you to try this one. I'm going to give you a 2 plus 2. What do you get?
Okay. It's showing with the.
Yeah,
So-
you
so
have
we
2 plus
So we
2.
have 2. And then 2. It's going to equal 4, Mr. Carlson.
All right, so you get 4, right? Because you got what? You got 4 pluses, so that's 4. Excellent. Okay, now let's try another one. Let's say you're going to take a 3 plus 2. What would you have?
So you just add another positive and that would be 5. 1, 2, 3.
All right, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 positive. Excellent. All right, now let's try this one. You're going to do 2 minus 1.
So then we would have 2 positives and then 1 negative, or 1 0, right?
Yeah.
So then we would remove this, and then how would we remove this?
Well, you're going to remove 2 positives
Right.
and 1 minus, because you got 2 positives you're subtracting and 1 minus.
So
that
then I'll
leaves
be
you-
left with 1 positive.
And that leaves you with 1 positive, right?
Yes, Mr. Carlson. Yes.
All right, let's try another one. Let's say you're subtracting 3 plus 3 minus 1. How would you do that one?
So we would have 3 positives and then 1 0. And then, so we're removing,
That you're going to subtract, right?
yes, Mr. Carlson.
So if you're going to subtract how many?
3.
From 3, so you're going to remove what?
3.
3 positive, right?
So I remove all 3 and then I'm left with the 0.
Well, then you also now have to remove what?
A 1.
See, we're subtracting what? We're subtracting 1 from 3, right?
Yes, Mr. Carlson.
So here, let's put them all back. So now you have 1, 2, you got 3 positives, right?
Yes.
And you're gonna subtract 1 negative,
Yes, Mr. Carlson.
right?
Yes.
So if you take away,
So wouldn't it be?
you take those away, right? You leave
And
you
then
2
you leave
positives.
2
right?
positives. I understand. Mr. Carlson.
That's it. Because you got a 1 and a 3. Okay, let's try this now. I want you to write me some formulas, and I'll try it.
Yes, Mr. Carlson.
So first I'll build my universe of nothing. A 0. A big O. Okay, which is a good formula I want to try, Dave?
-3 subtracting -4.
All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, and now we're gonna subtract 4,
Yes.
4 negative. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, if I take my three negatives from four positives,
I'm left with one negative.
one negative, right?
Yes, Mr. Jones.
Okay, what's another one?
-2 plus positive, negative 2 plus 3.
Okay, so you got a -2 plus what?
3?
Three positives?
Yes, Mr. Gross.
Alright. Okay, so I got three positive, two positives. You got, what did you have me do? A -3? or
-2
-2
plus 3.
plus three positives.
Yes, Mr. Gross.
Okay, so you got
Plus
-2 plus three positives. Alright, so if you take a look at a -2 and three positives, and right there you got one here and another one,
And we're left with one
that
positive.
leaves you with one positive, right?
Yes, Mr. Gross.
Alright, that's a tough one. Give me another one.
-4
Uh-huh.
plus -4 plus -5.
Alright, so you got four right there. And now you're gonna add, how many?
-5.
-5. 2, 3, 4. Do I have any more negatives over there? 4, just enough. 5. So I'm adding these together, right?
Yes, Mr. Gross.
A -4 with a -5. So if you count them all up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
9 negatives.
So that means 9 negatives, right?
Right.
Okay, good. Now let's have you try one more time.
I'm Mr. Gross.
All right. Let me try write one on the board here now. Let's try a -3 plus 2. What's that equal?
-1, Mr. Cross.
Well, show me how you came up with that.
So we got -3.
Three negatives, right?
So we have -3, and then 2 positives.
Right.
And then these two cancel each other out, and we're left with one negative.
With one -1, right?
Yes, Mr. Gross.
All right, excellent, you got it, David. Okay, now try this one. A -4, or I should say a +4 minus 3. What's that equal?
So we have 4 positives, and then we're gonna have 3 zeros, right? 3. So then that is. Wait, no, because it's. It's 4 positives with 3 positives, but you're subtracting.
Yes,
So when you
so you
remove-
got +4, so there's your 4. Now you still need 3 minuses.
so when it
Where's your
these-
3 minuses?
right here.
No, yeah, but you can't put the minus in, so it has to be a plus and a minus, so you have to put a 0
Right.
underneath it.
So these
Right there, there's your
Equals
3
0.
zeros right here.
yes, that's good.
Alright,
So these equal 0.
yeah, those equal 0.
Mhm.
So you're taking a -3 from a +4.
So then
Well, you know what, you don't even need these plus. Got your -3 right
oh,
there.
I understand that.
Right?
And then
Here's
these
your
will be
And
removed,
those are removed,
leaving the positive
and that
1.
leaves your +1.
Oh, I understand.
You got it?
Yes,
Alright.
that's good.
Let's try another one. You got a -2 plus a +4. What's that equal?
So we
You
have
got 4 pluses,
4 pluses and
2
2
minus,
negatives. So then we're left with 2 positives.
2 positive, that's it, now you're getting it. Alright, let's try it over. Okay, you got a minus 5 plus 3. What's that equal? You have 5 minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Plus 3.
right.
So then we are left with 2 negatives.
2 negative, that's it. You got a minus 2. Now, do you start to see the pattern?
Yes, Mr. Cross.
And what's that? What's the pattern?
That a negative removes positives, or a pattern with how you set the problems up, Mr. Cross?
Well, when we're using the little manipulatives there, our little plus and minuses, we can see clearly by putting up our pluses and having the 0, how important it is to 0 out, because with that universe of 0, we can add and we can subtract and we can remove integers quite easily, right?
Yes, Mr. Cross.
So we've just learned that anytime you're adding positive integers, by just removing them from the 0 gives you the number you're looking for if you're adding 2 and 2, or vice versa. You're adding negative integers
Yes, Mr.
of
Cross.
the 0. So if you're going to add 2 and 2 negative, you take away 2 negatives from those zeros. And what do you got? You got 4. 4 negatives, right? Or you're subtracting. And it's the same principle. If you're subtracting 3 positives from, let's say, 4 negatives, well, you're going to take away the zeros. What we do, we're subtracting
4 by 3, Mr. Cross?
4 by 5, right?
4 by 5. So
4
you're
by
gonna
So
be
it's going to have 5 negative minus 4 positive.
so you'll be
1
left
negative.
with 1 negative.
Yes, that's it. All right, so now we've learned how to do integers. Now what we're gonna do, students, is we're gonna take a minute. If you got any questions on doing that, now what I'd like you to do is to break into small groups, and you're gonna try it with another student.
Yes, Mr. Cross.
But in this case, we don't have many other students with us today, so we're gonna move right into our next portion of our lesson, which is our Odyssey web. So if you can open up your computer and log in.
Yes.
Today we're going to be doing lessons number 16 under Focus 1, which will be our it's on page 12 and 13,
Yes.
and it's on Focus 1, and it's going to be under adding and subtracting integers. So if we can go ahead, let me give you you need your login?
Yes, Mr. Cross.
Okay, give me just a second, I'll give you a login here. Okay, great. If you see right here, there it is. That's your login. Corrales. Then your first initial. You gotta capitalize the first letter.
Yes,
The
Mr.
rest are lower score. And then it's a D 0654.
Is that right, Mr. Gross?
You got it perfect?
Yeah, I did.
All right. Now push now you're gonna put your, the password is student hashtag #1, and you can get right into it.
I'm in, Mr. Gross.
Great, all right, you're in. Okay, now I'm gonna go to Odyssey, go to the student portal, and go to Odyssey.
I'm in, Mr. Gross.
Yeah, student portal, all right? And now we're gonna go under Odyssey.
I'm in.
Yeah, and it's focus 1, adding and subtracting integers, which will be number 3. Lesson 3. Adding and subtracting integers. Now I'm going to go ahead and follow you along here in Imperio, so I can see that if you need any help right on the screen there. Okay, great, you're in. All right. So go to lesson 1. And what's the first problem you got there?
-3 plus 4.
Plus 4. All right,
Yes,
perfect. So go ahead and put that answer in. Shut the video off.